What is going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 158 of Littleroot Lessons. As always, I'm your host, Carter Noble, joined by none other than Carl Wilkin, and of course, our good social media manager, Angelo Pagano. What's going on, dudes?
Happy birthday.
Yeah, it's 3 years, which seems absolutely absurd to me.
Yep.
To think when this, just how much has changed in the just VGC, the world, just everything. Like when you guys first started doing this, I didn't even know you guys 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's, so Carl and I have obviously known each other for what feels like forever at this point.
Yeah, like 7, 8, 9.
God, forever. Literally forever.
A third of our lives? Yeah, something like that.
That's not concerning at all. Thanks for making me feel old.
You feel old. I don't want to hear
It's actually a third of my life. That's the difference.
It's just under a third of mine. That's the problem.
Yeah, I'm just saying Carl's the one with a 3 as the first digit of his age, not us.
True. I ain't that old. But,
Not yet.
this is... It's crazy that we outlived an entire, generation of Pokemon at this point.
That is true. That is true.
It's just, I don't know. It's cool to think that we're still here after this long. And, obviously we have, no plans of going anywhere anytime soon.
At least not yet.
True.
We're definitely going to change merch providers after the issues I've been digging up on
Good
your end.
golly, they are still terrible. Mine have, for anyone interested, mine still haven't shipped.
Yeah, I was about to say.
This is just going to be a weekly segment until they ship, is Carter's merch update. I still don't have it.
Yeah, we'll probably definitely change merch stores soon. So if you want any of the old LRL merch stuff, get it now.
And if not, well, it'll be there until it's no longer there.
Yep.
I'm actually wearing my merch.
I'm about to say
my shirt on.
I can't
Happy
find my
birthday,
stocking
boys.
cap. It's been gone for like a month.
Mine's in my car. I wore it down at Knoxville.
Yeah, this is what I wore in Secaucus on the tournament day, and as always, as is every podcast I'm on with you guys,
He's got his
I have
little
my
cup.
mug.
Yeah.
My tumbler is, I think, in the cabinet. I don't think I took it to Knoxville with me. I don't know. It's
I'd be
around.
surprised if you took that to Knoxville with you.
Well, it was in the car, and then I cleaned out the car, and then we went to Knoxville, and I don't remember if I cleaned it out or not. I probably did. It's probably in the kitchen.
That poor tumbler.
Riveting conversation we're having.
I know,
here.
right?
So, what are we doing this week?
AMA. There ain't nothing else to talk about.
I mean, in all actuality,
moderating.
there's really not.
Vancouver's this weekend, but Series 2 is kind of on its way out the door, so not everybody's really interested in that.
And because of us, because of our schedules this week, we're recording pretty early, so we don't have Vancouver to talk about yet because it's Thursday.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet,
So,
as of recording. But we have all of our birthday stuff.
I was gonna say not to date this or anything, but yeah, it hasn't happened yet, so we can't talk about it.
Yep.
I mean, we already said it's our birthday. I put the birthday tweet out there, so in a sense, it is. We've already dated the episode.
I mean, to be fair, regardless of when we recorded this, I feel like I was gonna wear my hat.
Yeah,
so...
we were gonna wear the birthday hats anyway.
The party city near me didn't have Pokemon hats, and I didn't think to just get a regular
Just
birthday
I
hat.
got a whole stack of them. You should have just asked. I would have overnighted one to you so you could pay for it.
Go and pay the $15, $20 for overnight shipping.
Oh, it would have been a
from
lot more
Missouri.
than that.
Yeah.
No, see, luckily you don't have to pay for weight. It's just the box you have to pay for.
Yeah, instead of me going down and driving literally, I think it's I have a Party City 3 minutes away from me, and a Walmart another 2 or 3 minutes past that. But I dropped the ball.
And
on
you
that
didn't have a party hat. For shame.
Imagine being invited onto the podcast and then not being prepared.
I'm just saying this checks off like my March episode. I've been on an episode every single month since November.
Yeah.
So March is checked off, and after this, to
I don't know how we're gonna get you in April, May, and beyond, but we'll figure it out, I guess.
It's really simple. We just be like, "Hey, Angie, what are you doing this week?"
The answer is probably not. Actually, no. May is going to be a miserable month for me. I have like so much stuff. Already know June, July. I'm hopefully going to NAIC. I can hop on and talk about the local scene up in New England.
What's locals?
I'm about to say, what's a local?
That's what I'm going to on Saturday. It's the actual VGC GOAT, the nicest person in the entire community, Chalky. Love you, Chalky. Is hosting a local on a little outside of Boston on Saturday, and hopefully once they officially return, he'll be able to host like actual like premier challenges for the New England VGC community. But we've had that. Another card shop that's about 20-30 minutes from my new apartment. They just started this last week doing bi-weekly locals. Again, just for this general area. While I'm not able to go to any majors outside of NAIC this year, I'm at least lucky enough to have like a really good local scene, and so maybe we can talk a little about like what it's like going to a local and such. But that's in the future. Let's go with it now.
I'm about to say we're getting off track here.
Yes. The reason why I'm here is to moderate the AMA, and so I have a list of questions on my mobile, and we're just going to go jump right in. So the first question we have is from BG. You both mentioned on the podcast being deep into Magic the Gathering rabbit hole before getting to VGC. Are there any skills you honed or acquired from Magic that have been applicable in your foray into Pokemon? If so, what are they?
All right, I think I got this. One of the big things that, especially like newer players, don't that aren't really prepared for like mentally is like actual long day tournaments. Being able to play for 8, 9, 10 plus hours in a day is very mentally and physically draining. Mm-hmm. And being able to do that for, literal years at this point with Magic, being able to just, even like back when we played FNMs, FNMs would start at 7:30 and they'd run till midnight. I was going to say midnight, sometimes later. And, that's just a local. Yeah, that's a weekly local. That's not counting like larger tournaments where it's like, all right, well, today we're playing 10 rounds of Swiss cutting into top 8. And then, you top 8 and it's another 3 rounds that you had to play. It's just, those are long days, yeah. Especially when I think the longest Carl and I ever did in like a single day trip was like a 3.5 hour drive. We drove to St. Louis for a tournament.
Yep.
And I ended up top cutting that tournament. It's like we left at like 6 and we didn't get back until midnight. If not later. And mind you, like we stopped for dinner and stuff too because, obviously we have to eat, and it's just being able to be physically and mentally ready for these long tournaments, such as regionals, such as like, like you were talking about locals, anything bigger than that, just like, it's a lot. Mm-hmm. Because it's not like a ladder tour where you can play 4 games, get up and, go take a break for 15 minutes, come back and play some more. These are, back to back rounds. Yep. And they're a lot.
Whenever I hear you mention that, especially with the length of tournaments, I think back to when Austin Roller Coaster was on the pod last year, talking about his top 8 finish. I believe it was Indianapolis Regionals, and how that was they did a top 16. It was like 8 or 9 rounds of Swiss, and they did the top 16 round right after, and they didn't give anyone a break, or really, it was really like just going into like a round 9 or round 10 or however many Swiss rounds plus 1. And I still remember Austin saying that he knew that he won the second he sat down because he could tell that his opponent was just so exhausted that he's before they even played, like knew that he had that mental edge. And that was like
it's
one
a big
of the
deal.
things it is. I know I spoke with William the Shuai about this. He was having a lot of troubles. I think it was Orlando Regionals. He had a massive crash after lunch, and I spoke to him about just what are you doing mid-rounds, mental preparation, just what are you putting in your body during the lunch break.
I think that's something that not enough people talk about. You don't go eat like a 4-course meal at lunch.
No, yeah,
you get something light to hold you over.
Yeah,
and it's also you don't get a pizza or fast food or anything. Get a sandwich with some freshly deli meat or greens or something like that. If you drink coffee, have a black coffee. And after having that discussion with him, I believe it was the next event. Wasn't Orlando. I cannot remember what the next event was at. The next event he was in, I saw he went top 16 or he went top 16.
He top 8'd, didn't he? Was it top 16?
Right, he did top 8. I think he did top 8. But that's the next event and he just, again, it's just treating your body good. I never played Magic, but just, again, it's...
I mean, you also played, Pokemon TCG.
I did play
that's very comparable, right?
Yeah, it's similar.
It was a little different. I played back when Swiss was still best of 1.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, that sounds terrible.
Their rounds are much faster, though.
Yeah, I'm just throwing this, I say I played Pokemon TCG. When I played Pokemon TCG, the last Pokemon TCG tournament I played in was, a month after Black and White were, came out in America.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while. That was still when going to a regional was free.
Imagine getting to show up and play for free and not having to pay $70.
Goodness.
It was so different, especially because it was a regional weekend. So you only could play in one regional because every single regional was played the same exact weekend.
Yep.
So it was so much different. Carl, do you have anything to add, what you gained from Magic?
A lot of what my Magic skill set was is just analyzing the risks, analyzing the statistics. I'm very math focused when it comes to Magic in a lot of my games that I play, and it translated very well just into VGC because everything in VGC is just RNG. Knowing the odds of, my opponent has this much of a chance to do this kind of situation. If I do this, then they're going to lead into that. Being able to analyze and focus on what's in front of you and know what you need to do and the steps you need to take on the fly is a skill that most people can't get until they're at least 4 or 5 years well and deep into VGC. And that was something I played Magic for so long at such a young age that I was able to flow chart matchups pretty quickly once I kind of figure out, I have this information. I know that their win and outs are this, and this, so I need to play and adjust my way that I'm playing so that they don't get to do that. And it works a lot in Pokemon too, it's just knowing, they have this super effective coverage move. Okay, so I need to play around that if I'm switching, and Carter's about to lose his hat there. I'm about to take mine off, honestly, because
I was thinking about it,
hurting my head.
All right, you talked me into it.
Oh,
the hats are coming off.
Get out of here! Hold my
Ow.
hat. There we go.
I'm just saying it was a smart one. I didn't show up with a hat because I knew that would happen.
But I feel just risk assessment is a huge part of competitive games, and just throwing people into VGC and them not understanding that is a big pitfall for most newer players. It's just I'm going to click the super effective move every turn and hope that gets me there, and that's just not how VGC works.
No, those are some great answers. So the next question is actually from me.
I'm about to say it's your question now.
Lovely Rosef J. Baudelaire.
Never heard of him.
What is your favorite Pokemon from Generation 9? Both VGC and non-VGC.
Carl, I took the first one last time.
My favorite VGC Gen 9 Pokemon is Pawmot. I love that thing. Punchachu is very, very strong. Hits like a truck, is very fast. Double Shock is an amazing move, especially with Terra Electric. I think that it's not getting enough love right now, but as these formats get more powerful, I think we'll start to see things like Pawmot and stuff like that kind of creep into the format as good fake out plus speed control Pokemon. Favorite non-VGC Pokemon? I love the Reverum line. I think it's such a cool design, and it's so... I love Varoom, just like by itself. I think it's cute and adorable, and then Reverum just is such thematic flavor for like a steel poison type, and they did such a good job just like trying to design a car as a Pokemon.
Like, I mean, that's as close as we're ever gonna get, right?
Yeah, like that is so cool.
Okay, and Carter?
So I'm sitting here flipping through the Pokédex just to see if there's anything that is going to beat out my answers, and I don't think so. I think competitively, my absolute favorite is going to be Annihilate. Punch Monkey's really good. It's really freaking awesome, and I absolutely love it. I love the fact that the Pokemon Company continues to give older generation Pokemon new life, either through like regional forms or through these like regional evolutions. I think that like that is something that, you know, we've seen for several generations at this point, and I don't think it's going to be something that changes anytime soon. And you know, Annihilate having this super sick signature attack and Rage Fist is awesome. It being able to just like be, you know, it has like synergy with like the Revival Blessing, and where you can like bring it back, and then its Rage Fist is still just as powerful for some reason. It still counts. I don't know why they don't have Rage Fist like reset whenever it switches out. It's stupid. But yeah, I think competitively Annihilate is by far my favorite. As for like casually, like my favorite Gen 9 Pokemon, it has to be Tinkaton. It's freaking adorable, and it has a giant hammer, and like it's just, how can you look at this thing and not tell me that it's not like absolutely adorable? Plus like the like lore behind it hunting down Corviknights is just so awesome. The fact that it's shiny is just, the hammer is now made from Corviknight shiny armor is sick.
So it's not like exact. It's more of like
it's
bronze.
Not the same color, but
it's pretty dang close though, right?
Yeah, it's pretty close.
So that's great. I mean, since it's my question, I'm also just going to give my answer. I won't do that for most of them. My answer, it's the same Pokemon for both. When I first saw Finizen, I think it was like 3 days into me playing like Violet, my first thought was, hi, you're going to be my new best friend forever. And then I showed a picture of it to Spac, and Spac said, you know that Pokemon's busted, right? And
dude,
like,
it was on my team for like my casual playthrough and everything, and like it's really not good casually.
Oh yeah, no, it's not a casual.
It's not, but I love
Pokemon.
it. I love it still. And then, but like laddering wise, like every single team I've used to get to Master Ball so far this year, which is a goal of mine, has been a Palafin team. It's been like my favorite Pokemon to use, and yeah, I just really love it. So the next person, we actually have 2 questions from this person, Jackie, Luminary. So her first question is, what is the best Galarian form, and why is it Ponyta?
That's alright. You can be wrong. That's fine.
Yeah, see, like not only are you wrong, but you're like so far incorrect. It's not even funny.
That answer is going to give her an ocean of tears as she cries.
Good. The correct answer is Galarian Moltres.
You could also be wrong. That's fine. The best Galarian form is Weezing. It's Galarian Weezing.
Weezing is really good.
Like, it checks all the boxes of what a good regional form should be. It's got a new typing that is unique to the game. It has a really unique design that's thematic to the region. Like, all the Galarian Moltres is just like Dark Firebird. That could have been
so
any
cool.
region. That could go into any region. Whereas
it's more of like the big reason I really like Moltres is it took a Pokemon that was pretty terrible, like had absolutely terrible typing and just like move pool wasn't very good and just like a bunch of things that made it really bad and made it like completely viable for multiple series.
Yeah.
Plus its design is just absolutely sick and its shiny is by far my favorite.
Understandable.
Yeah, I also agree with Carter. That's my favorite. And also, I didn't know that Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome, was British.
Yeah.
Close second has to be Slow King. I love the design of Slow King, but it's just not good.
I think Galarian Zapdos is probably my second favorite. The Roadrunner is great.
All the Galarian birds are so good. You remember in like preview season, like the data mine season, where Articuno's signature move had like a 50% chance to freeze?
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm pretty sure you and I both went, if this is true, this thing is stupid.
Yeah, it would have been so strong.
Also during that time, we saw that Moltres had Berserk, and we both went, why did these other two have good abilities? And then Moltres has Berserk, and then Moltres was the playable one.
I was going to say, that wasn't you two, that was everyone. Everyone's like, it gets competitive and defined. They're giving Moltres Berserk. Who's going to use Moltres? Everyone.
Yeah.
And so Jackie's second question is, what is the best, worst Pokemon?
I'm about to say, define worst. What are we talking here? Worst in, like, design? Worst in VGC? Worst in...
Whatever your heart desires.
Fan base?
When you think worst in your head, whatever the first thing comes into your mind. She did not specify, and that is the beauty of this question. It is open for the answer.
Now I gotta go look for Pokemon.
Man, same. I think probably, like, this is probably gonna be, like, just kind of flipping through the decks here. I really, really like Cloyster, and I've tried to make it viable so many freaking times, and it's just always not good. I love everything about Cloyster, and it's just always so bad. Let's see. There's also... I love Blissey. I love getting to do, like, stupid Blissey things. But again, like... Blissey is not good this generation because Shuckle no longer exists, so I can't be, like, the stupid, terrible stall player, right? But, like... Blissey was awesome in RTT 6 for me. I got to run, like, Blender Policy Blizzard Serene Grace. And it was stupid. But, like, is it good? No.
See,
is it something that I love?
Checks that box of really cool Pokemon. It's just god-awful terrible. Going through some other ones.
Honchkrow is on that list for me. Like, I love the design. But, like, the fact that it doesn't have Prankster and instead gets Moxie is just so disappointing.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Gliscor in doubles is just miserable. That's also like a lot of the Gen 4 evolutions. Yanmega is another one where it's like Yanmega looks so cool, but it's just garbage. Its TCG card did win a world championship, 2011. I think it did win 2010, 2011. But yeah, VGC.
Electros, that's another one that's just like one of my favorite Pokemon. Is just terrible. It just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I've had to explain to people because they're like, "Oh, it has no weak." Like, people who don't know competitive Pokemon that well, they'll be like, "Oh, it has no weakness. It must be good." And I'm like, "Listen,
that's not everything.
Do something."
Yeah, you still gotta be able to do stuff.
In that same vein, like Reggie Drago, love its design, love everything about it, and it's just like so disappointing. I'm really hoping that like this generation it's way better. The fact that we no longer have Dynamax to just like double everyone's HP and double their bulk means that it's going to be like good,
it's gonna hit
right?
everything.
Like
hopefully.
it's going to be good, right, guys? This is the generation.
So, I think it was like, I mean, I barely played any Spike Myth Cup, but like I think it was like I'm not saying like a top 5 Pokemon, but it was like top 25 in usage or something like that in Spike Myth. Like, again, I think you just said it. It's not good in Dynamax, which is weird because they made a Pokemon in the Dynamax generation that is going to be remarkably just significantly better without the gimmick that it was for the generation it was introduced in. Like, Scarfed Terra Dragon, like, Dragon energies are probably going to slap.
Probably. I mean, along that same line, like, there's a lot of, like, Gen 8 Pokemon that just suffered because Dynamax existed, right? Like, I think Dreadnought is a really good example of that, too, of just, like, this thing is so completely unviable in Dynamax, even with a G-Max form, but, like, outside of it, like, I've played it in Scarlet and Violet, and, like, when it was good, it was good. The problem is, it's just, like, eventually we're gonna get, like, grassy terrain back, and therefore we're gonna get grassy glide back, and as soon as that happens, Dreadnought's completely invalidated again.
We don't know about grassy glide.
I really hope we don't get grassy glide ever again.
I think grassy glide might just stay and rot on Sword and Shield. I think that'd be
God, I hope so.
I do think there are going to be pokes, because I do remember when people were, like, leaking moves. The move did get a nerf. It's now 60 base power. Same as Palafin's Jet Punch.
Oh, great. Now it gets boosted by Technician?
Well, the thing is, you can't do both Technician and Grassy Surge.
Well, yeah. And I think the big thing with Grassy Glide was that what Carl just alluded to was they gave it to Rillaboom, who could set its own grassy terrain. I
think that's the big thing. The fact that, like, Rillaboom was able to abuse it is the real reason it was good.
Yeah.
And Rillaboom does not, and again, according to the data mining of the game, Rillaboom did lose. Rillaboom actually lost a lot of coverage. I still think it's going to be a very good Pokemon.
Didn't it lose knockoff? Like, everything this generation lost knockoff.
I think it lost Grassy Glide, knockoff, Superpower, and I think High Horsepower.
So, yeah.
Lost a lot. Yeah, it lost a lot. It still got Fake Out.
Well, I mean, you still have Fake Out, you still have an amazing ability, you still have U-Turn, and I mean, like, just being able to Fake Out Pivot and shut down Indeedee Armor Rouge teams by shutting down their terrain alone is, I still think, like, if we do get Rillaboom back, it's going to be a very, very good Pokemon. Also because we really don't have many, if any at all, like, really, really good grass types, like Meowscarada in Series 1 or Regulation A or whatever.
What do you mean? We have Terra Grass Iron Hands. It's fine.
We have Brute Bonnet. What are you talking about?
We got a
Oh, yeah, we do have Brute Bonnet.
We have Tropius. What are you talking about? It's fine.
Well, we're going to get Wo-Chien. So moving on from Jackie's questions, the next question is from T-Camp VGC. What is a topic that you've never got to talk about on the podcast that you've always wanted to talk about?
See, here's the thing. Since we get to just talk about whatever, we don't ever have to, like, really worry about it. It's always what's coming up, what to talk about is the hard part.
See, yeah, like, there's probably some stories that, like, I have never had an opportunity to tell because they've never come up. Mm-hmm. But I mean, for the most part, I'm very, like, vocal. I get, very sidetracked very easily. So, like, if something reminds me of a story, I'm going to tell it, right? Yeah. So, I don't know. I think I got nothing. I really don't have anything.
I'm about to say, like, I can't think of anything that we just, like, wanted to talk about but then didn't is weird. That's just not something we're, like, used to doing. It's like, if we want to talk about it, it's like, oh, hey, we'll just slot this episode in a couple weeks, put this on the back burner, and we'll come to it at a later time. I don't think there's ever been a topic where it's just like, oh, we want to talk about this, but we can't talk about this, so we're not going to. And this is kind of just, like, what it is for, like, these hobby, I guess you can call it, podcast channels. It's just like, you kind of get to talk about whatever you want.
Yeah.
We could pivot off of Pokemon and become anything we want to here in the next, like, week, and it wouldn't really change what we do.
I bet it would.
Nah, not what we do. No.
I mean, you and I we could talk about literally anything. Like it. I mean, look at our four and a half years of podcasting we've done together. Like we could talk about anything that has any kind of mutual interest in, and it would be fine. Yeah. Like when Snap came out, I messaged you. I'm like, so when do we start the Snap podcast?
Right, like that was the next thing. Is just like, oh, if Pokemon dies, we have Marvel Snap to go jump to as like this next competitive game we can go rant about for a while.
I think that's probably like the one thing that you and I we talk about a lot. Like that's basically all of our DMs are at this point. Is just like talking Snap,
just pushing Snap back and forth.
The actual podcast stuff we just talk in the group chat about. It's like, hey, we need ideas. Who has stuff? And like everything else is just like, hey, here's this cool board state I had in Snap.
I still have not downloaded Marvel Snap.
Jay
has had it on his phone for months and has never opened it. So
it's not a game for everyone. If you like poker style gameplay, Marvel Snap might be up your alley. It's very much not like the standard type of collectible card game.
It's a very good digital card game. It's probably the best card game I've ever played.
The meta sucks right now for late
it's
gameplay.
terrible.
It is god awful terrible.
It is atrocious.
Great sale, guys.
Okay, so the point where you're going to be playing these super hyper competitive decks, the top tier decks, you're going to be playing for months before you get to the point where Carl and I are.
Yeah.
Granted, I buy the battle pass every month that it comes out, so it's $10 a month that I put in. That's all the money I've put into this game, and it took me what, probably 4 or 5 months to get Series 3 complete.
Probably.
And getting Series 4 and Series 5 complete is next to impossible.
Unless you're spending
hundreds of dollars. Yeah.
No, it's much more than that, but so Marvel Snap, I can tell you this from experience, Marvel Snap's economy lets you spend $22 per day on whatever credits and gold on credits and stuff like that. So in the course of a month, you will spend almost $600 on credits. Max spending that way, buying the bundles, buying all the little stuff the shop tries to sell you for credits and stuff. I think you can get Series 3 complete in a matter of 3 months. But in order to continue to get Series 4 and 5, you have to keep spending that much. You have to keep max spending because you can't open Series 5 cards as often as all the other cards.
So, put it in contrast. The rarity of opening a Series 5 card, I think, is 1 in 400 boxes, which you get every 12 collection levels, okay? I've opened 2. Carl has opened 0.
I opened Valkyrie with all of Series 5.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Carl has opened 1 that got downshifted to Series 4.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move it a little back to Pokemon. I will go to the next question.
Snap is great.
Here's the question, T-Camp. They're going to start their Marvel podcast.
Yeah,
and then
we're going to go
next
shift.
week, this is... Yeah.
If LRL ever dies, we're going to talk Snap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next week, there's going to be an NFL podcast for free agency. Go Birds. Yano Can, Dirty Cowboys fan, along with our lovely co-host.
Love him.
Carter Noble. Love Yan. You wake up in the Pokemon world. Which region would you live in? What town do you call yourself home?
You can start, Carter. I think I know what your answer's going to be anyway.
The correct answer is clearly Hoenn. As for hometown, probably Lily Cove. Getting to live on the coast sounds pretty great. You have your department store. There's all kinds of great stuff there. You have the boat, so you can travel the country. Yeah, this sounds great. Sign me up.
That's my answer as well. And
see, I thought about this long and hard because I read this question ahead of time, and I was like, oh, this is a very cool question. I'm gonna.
It is a very cool question.
I picked Alola. because, like you said, living on the coast is great. Why not just live like?
What if every city was the coast?
I probably would just pick Howley City, the first city, first big city there. It's just easiest. But honestly, I think Alola would be a great like region to.
It'd be so hot.
So
like, nah, man, I'm good.
I would rather it be warm all the time.
It would be so humid all the time.
I would still rather it be warm and humid all the time rather than deal with volcanoes, earthquakes, monsoons, and all the other weird natural disasters that Hoenn seems to have happen like every year.
Look, it's not every year.
Every time some new protagonist comes along, you gotta go stop a natural disaster, gotta go wake up an ancient dragon to tell these
Instead,
other
you get
two
to deal with
Pokemon
aliens.
to bugger off.
Instead, you get aliens.
I can deal with
You get
aliens.
Area 51.
I can deal with aliens.
No, No, was it? No, that's a lie, because I was going to say Area 51 is Ore, but they based Ore on, like, I think it's, like, New Mexico and not Nevada. Also, Carter's answer is my answer. Living on the coast or in a coastal metropolis area is gorgeous.
I'm telling you,
Seriously.
Alola, just all the time,
Alright.
you're just in the coast.
Well, you've been outvoted, so we're moving to Lily Cove.
No.
We are. It's going to be pretty as hell. We're going to go see contests. We're going to dress all cute and stuff.
I dress cute all the time, just not today.
Sure you do, bud. So, the next question is from Hush. Dirty Giants fan. Really hitting the NFCs. Hey guys, what is your favorite team you ever built and why? And if you also want to, feel free to dive in on like what the format was at the time, to like add that like little extra context.
Oh goodness, I gotta go look through Laddering episodes because I know where it's at. It's just I have to pull it up to make sure I'm not forgetting stuff.
Let's see, what's the team? Because I know mine off the top of my head.
It's the Rain, the Series 7.
Oh, yeah.
I'm also looking through for you. So, Carter, floor is yours.
Let's see. I gotta find it. It's the Mudsdale team I played for. What season was that? Was this? Yeah, this is Players Cup 4. I played the 6-6 team. This was what format had one restricted?
Series 8 and 10.
8, 10, and
No,
11.
and 11.
Was there
8,
Dynamax?
10, and 11.
Was there Dynamax? If there was Dynamax, we were probably playing in Series 8.
Yes, I'm looking at the video. There's a Dynamax Reshiram on my opponent's side, so I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
So, do I have the paste available? I don't think so. Okay. So, this was, like, in team prep, I basically said, hey, I know I'm not going to be able to qualify because I'm only going to be, I know I'm not going to. I'm going to play something fun. So, I played, Galarian Slowking plus Mudsdale. I had Indeedee to be able to, like, also, like, redirect so I can set Trick Room so that I can swagger my Mudsdale. And then the hyper offensive side of the team was Cinderace, Togekiss plus Cali Shadow. The team was sick. I absolutely loved it. It was a blast to play, and I got to have pony time. So, like, it was clearly good.
I don't remember if I remember that team at all.
Oh, really?
I really don't know if I remember that team.
I remember that team. I
remember this.
Watching those videos.
I remember this team because the entire prep up to it, you're just like, Carter, what are you doing? Slowking's bad. I'm like, yeah, that's the point.
That wasn't just Carl. That was
It
also
was
me and Aaron.
literally everyone. Everyone's like, Carter, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. This team was an absolute blast, and I got to play Shiny Mudsdale, which is just awesome. The entire team, minus the Calyrex, of course, was shiny. So, another one that really comes to mind was, I think it was Players Cup 2. when I went to go register for it, I didn't realize that when you like made a team battle ready, when you made a Pokemon battle ready, it removed all the like attacks from that Pokemon and gave them the attacks at that level it would be.
Mm-hmm.
So when I registered, my Arcanine had like Growl and Leer.
This one I do remember. I do remember that.
I remember this as well.
The team was super cool outside of that, and I cannot find it now.
Yeah. So, Carl, I think I just sent you. I think I found
it.
the
I found
team.
it on through the playlist.
Oh.
I'm trying to find
Was it the
Carter's
right-
now. It was this one. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So Carter's, it was. You said it was Series 2, the Players Cup 2, right?
I think it was Players Cup 2.
So it was Whimsicott, Arcanine, Porygon Z, Togekiss,
Yep.
Kingdra, Rillaboom.
That's it.
Yeah, I found that one.
Yeah, that team was really good. And unironically, Leer was very good because I got to Leer and then like Grassy Glide something for a KO.
But yeah, the Series 7 Rain Team was the first like laddering video that blew up.
It was our
Yeah.
first video that blew up.
Like it was the first video to like really take off laddering wise. Nobody had really been playing with like Rain really before that. Like you saw a little bit of Kingdra here and there, but like nobody was really touching Politoed. Nobody was really touching like Rain as a duo, just because Togekiss was really pushing everything out of the format. And then when Series 7 started, you get things like Metagross and all these powerful steel types that can just really punish an opposing Togekiss. And so things like Kingdra became actually like decent to play. And I got to borrow someone's shiny Regieleki to make this video because I did not have Regieleki yet.
This, like, even to date, this is our third highest viewed video of all time.
Yeah.
The other two are the Skeledirge team and then the History of Rinya's Son video.
My other like most favorite team I've ever built is my Players Cup 2 team, which was this bulky Gyarados, Rillaboom, Incineroar pivoting nonsense with Magnezone. I thought this team was super duper cool, and I played like Porygon Z and Clefairy to kind of just have an hyper offensive go if I need to, but then I could just like pivot around and play super bulky with Incineroar and Rillaboom and Gyarados, just really being able to just sit through the games and not really have to worry about anything.
So that team, I was going to say, so that team that you were talking about, you gave Dad and I that pace because I think that was like for players, was it? I can't remember if it was Players Cup 2 or 3. I can't remember when they aligned them. I think it was Players Cup 2. But you gave Dad and I the pace for that team. And so I also used that team. That was a very fun team. That was for Series 5. I didn't really do well. And like there weren't many teams I really enjoyed for Series 5. But that was just like a really consistent one. It was a Grassy Seed, Body Press, Magnezone with Analytic. And you actually got to pick up some really, really cool KOs with that. I really enjoyed that team. That was super, super fun.
That's part of why I'm excited to get Rillaboom back. It means I can play Grassy Seed Magnezone again.
Also, speaking of that, I remember I got building that team. I got 2 shinies. I got a shiny Overgrow, not Grassy Series, but like Overgrow Grookey, like 7 eggs into breeding my Grassy Surge Grookey, and this was before the ability pack, so I had to box him for future notice. And then while it was EV training, I caught a shiny Rookidee.
I do remember that.
I remember that. I need to go back and try to get Magnezone the Thunderstruck.
Did you ever get one?
No,
he didn't.
I remember you hunting that forever. I think you ended up with like 4 shiny Magnezones, and none of them were the mark you wanted.
Yeah, I still got to do that. I could do it on Scarlet and Violet if I want to, I think, but
honestly, it might even be easier now because if you do the shiny sandwiches, it's like you get the marks.
Like you get marks and you get sandwiches. Like sandwiches, you can do a sandwich for the mark and the shiny and the encounter, and it makes it easier. Yep. So yeah, I might do that. I might have to go find a place that's raining and go do that.
No, that hunt is up there in Littleroot Lessons lore of Carter's Shiny Oddish.
Yeah.
And
Good
Reggie
Lord.
Rock.
Yeah. We've got...
At least you got yours.
See, at least
It only took me like 3 different games.
And then what was it? We had a few others. My Shiny Alola Shrew, where I went like 700 eggs before I got the first one, and it wasn't hidden HA, and I had to do like another like 800 eggs.
Goodness.
But that was like early-ish COVID. I think that was like June. That was like June 2020 when we were like, you can go a place, but like you still really shouldn't and didn't. And I all I did was pace back and forth because that's when I was on still in the lake house, so I would like pace back and forth on my deck or like sit in the porch, overlook the water, and just breed so many Sandshrew. Moving on to our next question, it is Red Tim. What are your ambitions for Littleroot Lessons? And also, what are your ambitions, like, personally for the future? Like where do you see yourselves with the podcast, and also, like, yourself, whether it's VGC-wise, Pokemon-wise, or just life-wise? Let's get personal in here.
So, talking personally, my work schedule is really awkward. My current work schedule is Saturday through Tuesday, meaning I work every weekend, and as a result, it's impossible to play basically any tournaments. Hopefully, eventually, I get into a position where it's Monday through Friday, or, you know, just having weekends off would be absolutely huge. Because then I can actually, like, start playing at events and stuff, and, like, not having to take an entire week off to be able to travel to one, right?
Like you just did.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I absolutely love the week I got to spend with everyone and everything, but it's also, like, that's the one I'm going to this year. That's it. That's the only one I'm going to.
Yeah, you get one.
As opposed to, if I was Monday through Friday, I could just take a personal day on Friday or whatever, and then go, and then be back Monday morning, and we're good to go, right? But it's just, unfortunately, I'm not in a position where I'm able to do that right now. That is obviously it's a goal. I don't know if you could classify it as like long term or short term or whatever, but like eventually I would like that to happen. Because like even just playing like locals would be great, but you know, I can't. Carl?
I'm fine where I'm at. I personally don't have to like worry. Like, I'm not too worried about like what I'm going to be doing in the future. I've reached that point in life where I'm just like, I'm happy where I'm at. I don't have to worry about too terribly much anymore. Like, there's some hierarchy and needs things. I'm pretty close probably to like the last little step of like what I'm needing, and I'm happy where I'm at. Like, I'm not like looking to do a bunch of big drastic changes. I don't have to worry about like where life is going right now. For LRL, we have no real clue what we're wanting to do right now. We're kind of in this weird toss-up of the YouTube channel is not doing too great. Do we want to keep pursuing the YouTube channel part of it? Like, do we want to just do the podcast and keep the Discord? It's a lot of just like weighing, like, is the work we're putting in for like the YouTube side, is that worth it to us? Because we don't want it to be a job. We like doing content and we like making this stuff, but we don't want it to feel like it's a chore that we have to do every day.
And like counterpoint to that, I don't feel like that, right? Like my inevitable goal is to make this so large where this can become a like full-time job where I can like make content for a living.
Yeah, that's obviously the end goal. Is like, if we can do that, that'd be cool.
I'm also realistic and realize that that's several years down the road. Unless we have some videos that blows up, and next thing you know, we have 1 million views and 100,000 subs overnight. Like, but like the question is like, what would that take to have happen? And I think the correct answer is like, I go win worlds or something, right?
Yeah.
Like something so, again, so out of my reach of being able to even be fathomably happening that it's just like not going to happen. But, you know, as for like the actual channel and everything, we're just going to keep grinding and keep doing our thing.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we love everyone that, you know, is a part of the community and everything. And the best thing to do is have, you know, we can only push our content so much. Eventually it becomes just like word of mouth spreading, where people are in the community are spreading the community even farther to more people, right?
You know, that all definitely makes sense, especially in terms of content. Like, yeah, like what would really help is if like one of you guys like won a major, or even if like one of like, call it the more super active members, like if Jay or Dad or like myself, like if or like Swede, like one of us like won a big event in something.
Someone active
like,
in our community that happens to win an event gets us out there a little bit more. And it's not saying that people don't know who we are now. It's like I had random people coming up to me in Indy that I don't even think were part of our Discord that just happened to know who Littleroot Lessons are.
Yeah, and I mean, same.
And that's cool. That's great. I'm glad to see that. And that part isn't going anywhere. Like, the community part probably isn't going anywhere anytime soon. For as long as people want to keep playing Pokemon with us, we'll keep hanging around and doing the podcast and doing stuff like that. It's just deep dives might disappear for a while. Laddering might disappear if it's not as fun for Carter to play anymore. Little things like that just might be what happens in the future in terms of like YouTube content.
And I mean, like this past week was a perfect example. Real world caught up with me. I needed to take care of things outside of content. And as a result, like, I was away for, you know, a week and a half or whatever. And, like, part of that was, hey, I'm on vacation. And then also part of that was, hey, stuff happened. I need to go take care of this instead. Yeah.
And, and that's going to be what happens here probably for the foreseeable future is, oh, Carl was busy doing something. There's not going to be a deep dive this week.
Yeah.
We've reached the point where we're not worried as much about getting a video out every week and things like that.
Or every day.
Oh, like, my God.
That was, you know, back when we were grinding and doing multiple laddering videos a week and, like, multiple deep dives a week, and also, like, a third series that we were doing, plus the podcast. Those days were rough. Yeah. Like,
trying to get the algorithm to like us. That's all we wanted, was the algorithm to like us.
Yeah. But even that, like, what you guys were saying with the podcast, I know we're saying this is episode 158.
Yep.
The three-year anniversary. We have not skipped a single week.
We made sure the podcast is here.
Yeah. That has always been something Carl and I were very adamant about. Like when we did the Magic podcast, I never missed an episode. And I think the only one that Carl missed was when he got married.
Yeah.
So, like, it wasn't until I think this past year I've missed 2 episodes. One was, you know, because I was literally out of the state and, like, was not able to physically record. So, like, you know, stuff happens. We understand. And, like, Carl and I have always made this to the point where it's like, hey, you know, if something major happens, we give each other enough feedback. We're like, enough time to do something.
Yeah, we can figure something out. It's not like, oh, 2 minutes before we're supposed to start recording, I'm not going to be there.
Yeah.
Like,
well, because I remember there was like one episode, I think it was
I had an emergency come up and it's like, hey, I can't be here, can someone like fill in?
Yeah, and that I think it was like me, I think that one was like me and Dad.
Yep.
But then there was like one where I think this was when Carl was in India. It was like you and Sweetie talked about Nuzlocke.
Yeah.
And especially for me, I know like I've joked around about this a lot. It's now on my Twitter. Like the permanent guest host of Littleroot Lessons, but it's like we have like you guys actually have more people, whether it's like the mod staff, like again Dad, Jay, Aaron, like me, Poppy, where it's like if one of you can't do it for whatever reason, we're now at least I think more comfortable with the brand, more comfortable like being around where it's like we can jump in to make sure that we continue this streak. It's like a lot of like VGC podcasts went on hiatus during the pandemic, or especially during the down period between Worlds and the release of Scarlet and Violet, and rightfully so. There really wasn't much to talk about. We made our own things to talk about, and the fact that again, like we're still doing this and haven't taken a week off, and there isn't a week off that we. Well, you guys, I keep on saying you guys plan on taking, just goes to show, like, at least this portion of the brand and the community is here to stay.
I will say there probably might be a month where it's Carter plus other people for a while. I will say that.
Yes.
Just in the future. There will probably be a while there where it's just Carter and guest.
Yeah, and, if it happens, cool.
You guys will have to look at my face a lot more.
Yeah.
Mm.
It'll probably be, if I'm being honest, it'll probably be Jay with Carter. I know Jay and Carter have
I like Jay. He has a nice
rapport.
face.
I like Jay too. We have pictures together. We went and shared a soda. We didn't share a soda, but we had.
We shared a week.
I was going to say we shared like 2 or 3 days. But also he's probably going to once Connecticut has like another local, he's probably going to come up and we're going to do a Connecticut local together. Moving on though, so that was Red Tim. Speaking of Jay, Jay actually has two questions for us. The first we're going to go in is favorite VGC memory, and I think I can guess Carter's. Carl, I'm not 100% sure on yours, so let's go with yours, Carl.
It's how I held up the entire first round of Collinsville for about an hour.
I forgot about that story.
Oh, it's so good, man. It's so funny.
The judges, back before COVID and all that, when you would do team check-in, I'm not sure if they do this at the events now that the pandemic's over, but they line you up in a big old line. You go through and you hand your game to them. They check out your battle box. They make sure everything's set up, and then they lock your battle box for you. Well, mine wasn't locking correctly. They could not get mine to lock. It was being temperamental. We don't know why. They power cycled my Switch. Well, I hadn't saved my team from the changes that I had made that morning to match the team sheet that I submitted. But I thought I had. It was fine. We get to round 1. I get paired up with my opponent, and I immediately just loudest judge. You could hear it all across the entire convention center. Hands in the air. Thank you. That's the other big thing you probably get from Magic is learning how to call judges.
Dude, the number of people at like Knoxville are just like, hey, judge, I have a problem. I'm just like, that's not how you call for a judge. What are you doing?
You are you have to be loud and proud.
The one time I had a judge, when I had needed a judge in Secaucus, luckily enough, Alyssa was walking by, and I was like, Alyssa, Mir, please.
I need help.
I'll get you ice cream tonight.
But ended up being my Dragapult wasn't EV'd and didn't have any of its moves, which I was able to go in and fix everything for the Dragapult because the games hadn't started yet. Didn't even get a game loss. Like, it was like, because when I explained, it's like the judges power cycled my Switch and then locked my battle box, and that's where we're at. And they're like, so it's not your mess up, it's ours. And so I got to fix my Dragapult and held the entire round up for an hour, and then got my picture taken for the Illinois City newspaper that was in that location, which is now my Twitter profile picture.
Has been since that event, actually. Yeah, has not changed. The model of consistency. And then Carter, I think everyone knows what your favorite VGC memory is, but you can say.
No, I'm actually interested in what you think it is.
I'm about to say.
I'm going to guess it was Knoxville, just being with the community, like spending the week with Jay and Manny and all of the other members of our community and other communities. Shout out to the Game Corner guys and Georgia VGC, who you hung out with a lot.
I'm ready for Ro to be wrong.
Am I wrong?
I'm ready for Ro to be wrong.
See, here's the thing. I actually don't even like Manny. His head is too big.
We knew that was coming.
Look, he started it, okay?
Oh, no, we have his questions at the end.
But yeah, absolutely. Knoxville was... this might be, like, recency biased, but, like, it was a blast. Another one that really comes to mind... my first regional was Collinsville 17.
About to say that sounds right.
Oh yeah, I forgot that you played like Gen 7.
Played one regional then. The only reason I played is because it was local.
Yeah.
It was a 3.5 hour drive.
We're hoping for one next year.
My buddy Cooper and I got up, drove there that morning. I went 0-8. He was playing TCG. He had like a good record and everything, but unfortunately, also did not top cut or anything. So day 2, we decided we were gonna play side events, but like VGC side events were kind of non-existent because like it was a smaller tournament at that time, and like the environment was much smaller. And on top of that, like my team sucked. To the surprise of no one, my first team I ever built was terrible.
What was it?
See the 0-8 record.
No, I mean, like what was on the team? Like
this was Polytoad, Mega Swampert. Oh my god!
No, you don't have to go any further. We get it.
It was like in testing, it was really cool and really awesome, and I suffered against bulky grass types, and then I played Ferrothorn 6 times.
Sounds about right. Sounds like Gen 7.
You said bulky grass types in the format that had Ferrothorn and introduced Tapu Bulu. That's like saying, it's like, oh yeah, no, this team's really great. I just get demolished by Fluttermane, but like, no, it's good.
It'll be fine. It's not even that popular, right? Like,
it's only on like 60% of like the top 32 teams in the tournament. It's whatever.
Yeah. So, really cool team. Really bad. Really, really bad team. So we decided we were gonna play TCG side events, right? And I didn't have a deck. So I had to go, like, I found a deck list I liked, and I bought the entire deck at the convention, entered one side event, entered a win-a-box, and I ended up winning it after, like, not playing the standard format for literal years. So, like, every time my opponent plays something, I go, yeah, hold on, I need to read that.
I don't know what this card
Yeah, that's
is.
fine. Just, like, every time they played anything, I'm like, I'm not playing that, hold on. Yep, that's really good. Just like,
can I see what it is?
Ended up winning the event. The box was garbage, if I remember correctly. I didn't open anything cool out of it. But yeah, that would be like number 2 is like winning a side event in a tournament I like in a format I had never played before.
So, the second question Jay had, which last minute submission, if you were gym leaders, what would your type be? And just overview on like what Pokemon would be on your teams.
So
this is also the
big thing here is like how late of a gym leader you would be, and clearly I'm going to be like the champion of the region. So
sure you are.
So my
sure you are.
the team I have is like max power level that I could possibly have, while also like still being absurdly weak to multiple types.
Of course. So everything's like an ice or a grass
settle
type.
down.
Everything is clearly a fire type, yes. We have multiple shared weaknesses across literally everything. I have no water immunities, no water resists. Oh, that's a lie. I have 1 water neutrality.
So Card just brings out Volcanion and just sits it in front of everything.
So it's
Volcanion can use Scald, and now it's the only Pokemon that can do that.
That's a good thing.
We lead Ninetales to set Sun because we're getting real try hard in our Pokemon game here. Volcarona, Rotom Heat, Scovillain because we need a Sun Sweeper, right? Skeledirge, and then Mega Blaziken because obviously this is a fan game. We had to have Megas in it.
You joke. There's data that might be a thing soon. You joke. Don't joke about it too much, Carter. You're gonna bring it to life.
Oh my god! Wait, no. That's good. Because Mega Abomasnow, I can play Snow Room. Let me be on brand, guys. Let me be on brand.
if I was a gym leader, I would probably be just a steel type gym leader. Steel types have always been my favorite type of Pokemon. Ace is probably Magnezone with like Air Balloon or something.
That tracks.
Just avoid its 4 times weakness and then just body people with Analytic.
So let's see. Let's build Carl the most try-hard steel team we can here.
I get
we have to have Magnezone.
I get Magnezone, Skarmory,
Zacian.
Zacian.
We get Mega Scizor.
Mega Scizor.
No, I purposely didn't go any legendaries. Oh, yeah, we get Mega Metagross.
Also, you say try hard. I'm like, okay, well, you have Scissor. Not Scissor. Jesus. Scissor's not legendary. You have Zacian and Dialga.
Yeah.
So, like, you have, like, Sword Doggo and the actual God of Time.
Yeah, we get Heatran, so we have a fire immunity.
Yeah.
Ferrothorn. We get King Gambit. We get Aegislash.
But what Aegislash are we getting? Are we getting Kalos Aegislash, or are we getting, like, Alola and On Aegislash that got nerfed? No, it was, from Gen 8 on Aegislash where it got nerfed.
Yeah, pick one.
Yeah, it's fine.
we get Kartana. We get Stack Attacka. Steel's really good.
Yeah.
We get Goldingo.
The type that everyone wants to that everyone wants to Terra into is good.
Yeah, who knew?
You get clearly the best steel types, Tinkaton. So, you know.
And we get Corviknight, so we could just have like that on-brand flavor.
Why do we need Skarmory when we have Corviknight?
Exactly.
It's just better.
We have Corviknight at home.
So, I would be a nice safe gym leader, because again, on brand. I would have the Alolan Ice Duo. I would have a Mamoswine. It's my baby. Love him. And then I would have Baxcalibur. Again, I'd say Baxcalibur is probably my second or third favorite Gen 9 Pokemon. I would have an Iron Bundle, who is also, like, it's either, like, Bundle or Baxcalibur is, like, my, like, next favorite. And then I would just have a Chien-Pao, because, you know...
No, you have a Mimikyu that has Terra Ice.
No, you have Scarf Galarian Darmanitan and just one-shot everything.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but, like, legendaries. Also, Chien-Pao is just great. I could also throw Weavile on there. Weavile is a special place in my heart. My first few TCG decks were Dark-type decks with, there was a Weavile card that came out in the third Diamond and Pearl set called Secret Powers. It was a Water-type Weavile, and its ability was that, ability or Pokebody? Well,
you're asking the wrong person.
Regardless, so what it could do is it could turn itself on your turn for that, like, up until, like, your next turn. It could turn itself into a dark type, so it could be both a water type and a dark type, which was, like, really, really cool.
Each of your active Pokemon is now a dark type at the end of until the end of your turn. If the Pokemon is no longer your active, this effect ends. Huh.
Yeah, no, it was so you played that with Great Encounters Darkrai and Wigglytuff. And
was that the super busted Darkrai?
No, that wasn't the super busted Darkrai is like Darkrai EX from, like, the Gen 5 set.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. That one is bananas.
This was like, I mean, this was also back when, like, Gardevoir Gallade Plox was, like, by far the best deck in the format, and if you weren't playing it, you were a dumb kid. So I was a dumb kid. But I made top 6. I made top 16 with that deck in New England regionals. So not that dumb. It was seniors, but still, like, that was, like, we had, like, a really good. Actually, that year, the world champion in the seniors division was a New Englander, Dylan Lefevre. So he was at that tournament, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Dylan was, like, my rival back then, and I use that term loosely because I don't think I ever beat him, like, at all. He was just
it's not a rivalry if you don't win.
There was, like, so back in it would have been fall 2008. There were these tournaments called Battle Roads. I'd say the best way to describe them is it's like sort of like locals now, or like what they would call like these smaller locals. And I went to like 4 weeks. There were like 2 or 3 in it was like 2 or 3 in southern Massachusetts, and then there was one in Rhode Island, like literally 10-15 minutes down the street from where I grew up, and I played him every single one, and he beat me badly every single one with a different deck. I ran the same deck all 4 events because I was 12. No, I was like 12, 13, and I couldn't afford cards. He used a different deck every time and just beat me.
Oh, lordy.
We're going to move on to the next question. It is from Dad. And I actually think this is one of our... this is probably my favorite question for you guys. Do you have a piece of content or just a project, whether it's for Littleroot Lessons or anything else, that you didn't have a good... Like, you weren't optimistic about it at the time of releasing it, and it ended up being, like, way cooler or better performing than you thought?
Can we just say this podcast in general? Like,
you could.
So, we've kind of talked about it before. Like, when we were doing the Magic podcast, if we hit double-digit viewers, like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that was a week to celebrate. And so then, like, when we started doing this, and, like, I think our first episode, like, the first week it came out, hit, like, 200 plays or something. We're just like, what have we been doing?
Yeah, like, why have we been doing
Why did
Magic?
we waste a year and a half on this?
Yeah. Imagine if we had started with the Pokemon podcast before, like, we would have been in before Pokesports. We would have been in before a lot of the new ones that had went on hiatus had come back.
Yeah.
We would have been on the tail end of Gen 7.
And, like, I do think, like, when we started was probably, like, the best time for us because, like, obviously new game, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, had we started before we went to Collinsville and, like, had all of, like, the Series 2 tournaments and everything leading up to it, I think that just would have, you know, been, like, that much better, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, in hindsight, like, this is where we are. Like, this is what we came from, was literally nothing. So...
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I did find Pokesport because Pokesport was doing pods before you. I found them before you. I don't know if I've even said this on, like, I've told this to you guys. I don't even think I've said this, like, on pod, though. The only reason why I even joined your Discord was because for some reason I thought the Pokesports one was, like, patron only, and yours was, like, open, so I just joined it. And I still remember I joined it, and I think it was, like, Easter of 2020, so, like, a month in, and... I mean, now I'm here, so,
yeah.
like, things happened, and...
Now you're
like,
on the podcast.
Exactly, and it's, like, I still remember when I submitted my first team of the week, and I just thought it was so cool that, like, I think I was still, like, using, like, my AJP, like, my initials, like, the AJP 9595, like, on Discord and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because this was even, like, before, like, the Mr. Rhode Island, or Mr. Missouri, Mr. Montana, Minneapolis.
The good
memes.
days.
Yes, the state memes. Like, that's how far back it is. And it's, like, thinking, it's like, oh, it's so cool, like, hear, like, people, like, talk about my team. And now I'm just on the podcast, and I'm very happy to call you, the two of you, like, two of my best friends, because of it. And it's just, like, yeah, like, I can see what you're saying, Carter. This whole thing was just what's going to happen? Like, what's the worst?
Yep.
And three years later, we're still here.
Yep.
So the next question
I didn't even
is
get to answer the
from...
question. Thank you very much.
Yeah, how
Jesus
dare
Christ.
you?
You guys just
Oh
skip
my god.
me. As the guy who edits all the videos, y'all just skip me.
You're fine. Continue.
It was the history of Rinya's son video that took off. Like, I put a lot of time into that, and I was like, this is fine. It's not that great. It might get people to look at it, but I'm not, like, worried if it doesn't do well. And it just, everybody loved it. It took off. It has so much staying power. It's still getting views to this day.
I think the big thing with that video as well, for people, because a lot of people like VGC lore. I know Moxie Boosted does like a lot of VGC lore stuff, more so like shorter form. But there's even a channel. It's I'm a Blissey, and what they do is they'll go and like find a team. Like they just posted a video. They recreated the like winning team of the Journey Across America's tournament. This was the 10th anniversary like Pokemon tournament, the first time ever the VGC rule set was used, and like he'll go and recreate like the winning team. He's done this for a few other tournaments, and part of the appeal for it, part of it is like, okay, if you were making a team without hacking, how long does it actually take? And to build a team in Gen 3, it took him like, he had a modded like 3DS that sped up, or like DS that like sped up the clock. But he made it like, if you made this team in Gen 3, it would have taken you like over 100 hours. And that's with like the knowledge of the modern day knowledge of like Gen 3 RNG. But part of it as well is to discuss the actual lore of like what is going on at that time. A lot of people didn't know about Journey Across America. Like, I knew of the tournament back then, but I didn't know about like competitive Pokemon. And so Rinya's Sun is such a defining team of the first format that people were playing out of the pandemic, the return of like Pokemon, that I think like that's going to be something where we might look at this like 3, 4, 5 years down the line. We're still getting views on it because we're going to have people who maybe joined Scarlet and Violet and didn't know what Rinya's Sun was.
Yeah.
And they're looking, okay, what was like the big team like right before Gen 9 started, and it would be right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, moving on to our next question. It is from Spactu Titan, my child. Do you bite ice cream?
It depends.
Yeah. For the most part, obviously not, but like also, you know.
Like if you think about how ice cream works, is like you get like the drumsticks or like the fudge pops or just like anything on a stick or like in your hand. Obviously, you're going to bite that to start it because it's just like you're not going to sit there and lick the outside of it until you actually get to ice cream, unless you want it to all melt in your hand. Right?
Yeah.
Also, ice cream cake.
Yep. No, ice cream cake.
Also accurate.
Yeah, I've eaten a lot of ice cream.
So
cake
it's
recently.
like it depends. I still have half an ice cream cake at home.
Dibs.
Ice cream cake's gluten free, so that's like, you know, when you have a fiance and a future mother-in-law and a future brother-in-law, all with a gluten allergy. Most birthdays are with ice cream cake.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's gluten ice creams. Well, I mean, you have to get like, there's some brands of ice cream that actually aren't gluten free. Like, there's a local ice cream place in like southern New England that their ice cream like has like wheat in it. I don't know how, but like it does.
We're gonna have people just clamoring about desserts now in the comments because they're complaining
Well,
that we
I mean,
didn't have cake for the podcast episode today.
Okay, cancel me for this, but I don't like cake.
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, good. Next question, Don Mateo.
This was directed just directly towards Carter. I can already tell
yes,
you.
Yes,
that
this is directly towards Carter. In a draft league, is it better to win the regular season title or a playoff championship?
Obviously, playoff championship, right? Like,
yeah, that's easy.
I didn't even finish the question.
No one remembers the first seed. Everyone remembers the championship.
I remember the doubled arms. Would you rather get the 1 seed and flame out in the first round, or be a lower seed and win it all?
Underdog.
And which is a better representation of who's the best? Asking for a friend. As someone who got the 1 seed in a draft league recently, our last draft league, and then their team did not do well in the playoffs. Yeah.
I would always much rather be the underdog anyway. The underdog's a much better story.
It is.
As my RTT4 champion title would say.
Underdog stories are the best.
I believe I was the 8th seed going into that, and I won.
Yep.
You were.
And then I think Aaron did the same thing the next season.
Yes, Aaron, I was just about to say that Aaron did the same thing, and then we're hoping that like one of what was it? We have Dad, Jay.
It's Dad, Jay, and Poppy are all in RTT.
Yeah, it's Poppy. Yeah, it's the two of the last 3 Trash Kings decided to take a break.
So, Carl.
What?
Little side tangent here. I got into our old Anchor account for Attack for Zero.
Oh,
okay?
Gosh.
Can you guess the most played episode we have?
Episode 1.
This is gonna sound surprising, but I think it's our last one.
Not surprised.
Yeah, our episode 1 has 41 plays. Our last episode has 117. I don't know why. The
podcast was called Attack for Zero?
Yeah.
Yep.
What does that mean?
So, in the MTG lingo, the idea is we attack for 0 because it's about sending a message. One of the cards in Magic the Gathering is called Bird of Paradise. It is a 0/1 flyer that has a very good tap ability that you can tap it and make a mana of any color. But the idea is if you can't use it, you just leave it untapped for most of the time. Or you can send a message and attack for 0. Just way over his head.
Correct.
Last 2 questions are both from the lovely Poppy Katan, our good friend Manny. One minute, I need to scroll through this.
There's 3 questions.
It's 3? I thought it was 2.
There's 3 questions.
There's 3? From Manny?
No, there's 3 questions left. You skipped one.
Which one did I skip?
From Dots? You do.
You know what? Give me a second.
Refresh.
Nope.
Imagine not being like on top of things while live recording stuff.
Supposed to be the moderator.
Supposed to be the social media manager. This is all coming out of your pay cut.
See, I didn't see those at the bottom. I had to refresh.
How did you not see them?
I can't.
He can't scroll.
Dots asked, "How do you deal with crappy RNG mentally?" I would. You guys answer that, and
okay. So we're going back because it kind of circles back all the way to the very first question we answered about the MTG thing. MTG RNG is the absolute worst in terms of like games. Because you have so many resources that you need to have in order to actually play the game and be competitive. And there's games where you just don't have any of it.
Yep.
Like
there's games where you mulligan to 4 and you lose because you can't play the game.
You literally can like Pokemon gets to play the game still because it has so many ways to search for things. That doesn't even happen in MTG.
And like even like removing from that to like Pokemon VGC, right? My laddering video that comes out already passed this week. It came out on Friday. I had a match where my opponent got a double KO on turn 1. I won that match. It's like, all right, well, half of my resources are gone. It doesn't matter. Like
you still can play.
You can put yourself in a position to still being able to win. Whereas with Magic, if you mold a 4 and you keep a 1-land hand because that's all you have access to, and you never draw your second land and you can never play a spell, like there's nothing you can do about that, right? Like you lost the game because of RNG, and like your opponent got to play a game.
Yep.
In VGC, there are no true non-games, right? Like if there's a non-game, something went absurdly right for someone or absurdly wrong for someone else. Or the teams were just, the losing team was just so improperly built that you just had a 0% chance of winning, right? Like there's so many things that make for like something to be a non-game that is just non-existent in VGC. That being said, the best way this is gonna sound super dumb, but it makes sense. The way to dealing with RNG for me is 5 simple words. it is what it is.
Yep.
Like, this is the game we play. Like, if you don't want RNG, then you're playing the wrong game. Like,
it's not even like if you don't want RNG. If you want to avoid crappy RNG, that starts at team building. There's ways you can reduce your RNG affect how RNG affects your team. Like, you have a problem with getting paralyzed. Well, you can play an electric type, or you can play a cherry berry, or you can play things that avoid getting paralyzed. If you have a problem with, like, going back
missing moves.
Yeah, missing moves. Play the more accurate move. Don't play Hydro Pump. Play Chilly Water. Play Surf. Play whatever. Like, there's ways that you can team build to mitigate crappy RNG from happening to you, and that's where the good teams start to develop and kind of iterate on themselves. And there will be people that will play with the very, like, just lottery style teams, and they'll do really well one week and they'll do dog shit terrible the next week. Like, there's nothing you can do to stop that from happening, because that's just how the game is.
I think one of the things, and this is something I believe it was Aaron Trailer and a few, like, top players I've heard this from, or have told this to me, is that, and a lot of times with RNG, if you are making optimal moves, you can play through it. In most cases, there's sometimes you don't. I think in Gen 9, it is, I think there's less, like, I lose a game immediately because of RNG. In Gen 8, everything was built around the Dynamax Pokemon. Mm-hmm. So, again, going for an example, it was my 5th round, my post-lunch match at Secaucus. Game 1 of that match, I lost my... I Dynamaxed my Dialga, and before it could even move, it got crit KO'd, and I didn't have a Dynamax Pokemon. I was playing 3v4 that entire Game 1 with no Dynamax. And I was able to play it through to, if I had a roll go my way, I actually would have won that Game 1. And it's because mental wellness is a key thing that goes, I mean, even back to our discussion of, like, lunch breaks, what you put into your body, how you approach the tournament. I've said this, make sure I say this to a lot of people who have this question, have a really, really short memory. Do not dwell on the para. Don't dwell on the 3-turn sleep. Play it. It is what it is. It happens. It's the game we play. Because if you were on the other side of the table, and I mean, I was on the other side of the table later in that tournament, I knew I had an out where I need to hit a Thunder Wave and get the full para. And if I don't, then I'm going to Game 3. And I got both of those things, and I won. And that's, in so many words, hacks. And I won a game. I won a set. I'm celebrating. I'm 5-2. And your opponent is... And it's like, again, it's like, if you're going to celebrate the hacks, then, yeah, like, you're going to have to deal with the hacks. It goes both ways. But just have a short memory with it. Just play through it. Like, a lot of times, even through those hacks, you still have optimal plays to make. And as long as you know, okay, I made the right decision, you can at least take that thought process into Game 2 and 3 and take those games.
Yep.
So,
and I think that's just like the big thing is, you know, if you are putting yourself into a position where you need RNG to win, you need to really evaluate how that game was played to prevent yourself from losing to RNG. I think is the big thing about it. Is like, well, if I get a 3-turn sleep here, I lose. Okay, so what led to the point where that was the case, right? And, like, obviously there are times where you have played optimally up to that point. But at the same time, there could have been another play that could have been made elsewhere to put you in a position where you are no longer, like, getting put to sleep. Or, like, you know, in team prep. Like, this is a perfect example. My Annihilate team that I played for laddering this week. My Annihilate is Vital Spirit because I didn't want it to be put to sleep. I felt like Defiant boosts weren't prevalent enough or relevant enough for it that I would rather just take the sleep immunity to prevent myself from having that RNG of losing a game.
Yep.
And I think that as well goes to also understanding the meta, understanding what moves people are using. Carter looked at it and said, okay, well, really outside of Arc, there isn't much Intimidate at all. Defiant might not really come up.
My 5 rounds, I played 1 Arcanine. I played 1 Intimidate Bond the entire tournament.
Yeah, so to be able to go and say, okay, I know it's this, I can make this choice on day 0 and reduce that, like, how RNG could screw me over. Like, again, it's decision making even before you go into the tournament could even be huge for that. So you guys ready to move on to our last 2 questions?
I think so.
Both from Poppy. The first is, Carter, why is your noggin so darn large?
Ask your mother.
And that is when we got canceled. 158 episodes in, and your mother joke just chills us.
Now we're fine.
It's just Manny. It's just Manny's mother.
The second question, and our last question of the night is, what Pokemon are you most excited about returning in the DLC? We just got our DLC release, showcase, and Pokemon Day. Also, I'm on the podcast, I can say this, I did not get my super hot take right. But
Imagine that.
We are getting a Pokemon show.
I'm about to say it's close.
I'm gonna call that like a soft win, because again, like, if anyone else was predicting like new like Pokemon shows or movies, come show me, because to my knowledge, I'm the only one who guessed that. And yeah.
Has Carter even seen the list of supposed leaked returning Pokemon?
Yes.
I think Hush sent it. I know Hush sent it to you.
I know. I asked for it.
Can someone send it to me just so I can like verify what I think is accurate?
It should just.
I didn't need the list to know what I'm excited for. They put a Mamoswine silhouette in the trailer.
Yeah, who cares?
I do, and that's all that matters.
There you go. I'm gonna be the bad guy. I'm actually excited for Incineroar to come back.
You're a monster.
Can I quit?
I'm the bad guy. I like bulky interactive Pokemon, and Incineroar
Boo,
makes
hiss, etc.
Incineroar makes bulky interactive Pokemon better.
My boy Hitmontop! Oh, I love Hitmontop.
I also love Hitmontop.
Spoiler alert! I'm after going back over that list, I'm like 80% sure it's completely right. Even though it's missing some weird stuff that we know is in the game and is coming. So it'll be interesting to see just like how accurate it actually is.
Let's see. Adaptability, Terra Normal, Hyper Beam from PZ sounds great.
I just like Porygon 2 being in the game.
Nah.
Yeah.
Can we just remove P2? Like,
No.
Is that an option?
No, if you want to keep PZ, I get to keep P2.
Alright, I can live without PZ then.
I can live without either.
I get my Cyberduck back.
The real answer is Whimsicott's back, and that's all that matters.
My fluffy baby.
I love Whimsicott.
Tailwind's overrated.
Like, also accurate, but like at the same time, I miss my little fluff ball so much.
I'm gonna laugh when Whimsicott's move pool just gets gutted.
Give me Trick and I'll be happy. Give me Trick and or Switcheroo.
Nah, you just have Encore, you're fine.
Also accurate.
Correct though. Because like and this is just in testing, it's like Qianpao, you have Dragonite's Extreme Speed, Arcanine's Extreme Speed, and Qianpao's so fast, it's faster than a lot of the, even like right now, it's Qianpao's faster than all of the Tailwind setters, and active Tailwind setters, and even if we get Tornadus and Whimsicott back, again, it'll still be faster than it, and like you can just double up into like Extreme Speed, Ice Shard into even like a Prancer Tailwind Mon, and break the Sash and knock them out.
Yep,
with
it's
that
easy.
lead.
It's super easy.
For just, I know this is the AMA pod, not the Regulation C pod, but Tailwind's not good in Regulation C unless it's like, actually, I think the best Tailwind setter is freaking Dragonite. It's going to be super bulky.
Iron Jugulus
defeats, Iron. No, Iron Jugulus falls to the same thing. E-Speed, Ice Shard, done.
Iron Jugulus is much bulkier than you're giving it credit for.
Well, we'll run the
also, it's
later.
only 2 times super effective, not 4 times super effective.
Good point. That is a good point. But, like, I went and saw, like, what was it? I think it's SPAC sent me.
And the thing is, it's like, the Tailwind setters usually are Terra Ghost anyway, so it's just like, your E-Speed's not gonna, like, you can't just safely click E-Speed into them most of the time. So.
Yeah, but if you're also, like, forcing them, like, if you're forcing depending on the Tailwind Mon, but if you're forcing the Tailwind Mon into a Terra Ghost and not one of their more offensive Pokemon to
I will have you know, I watched Talonflame destroy a team as Terra Ghost. Talonflame can do it. So, I would watch what you say there before you get into it too far. Because you will have someone jump on you, because Talonflame did it on camera. It beat somebody.
I'm saying for Reg C.
It still will do the same thing.
Not to sidebar too much, but Conkeldur's also coming back, and that makes me happy.
Yes.
I love Conkeldur.
It's too bad
I actually
it'll
didn't
be
know
with,
this.
like, everything else, and it's not. It's gonna be
Conkeldur's going to come back with all the good Pokemon.
So I don't know if you all know who False Swipe Gaming is, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They had a video come out this past week, I think, a week ago.
I don't know.
Where it was like the history of Conkeldur, and
I'll watch that later.
Conk won Worlds twice in its first generation.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely absurd to me.
The Conk was very, very good. Well, I mean, you had the 100. I mean, if you count like fully evolved Pokemon only, its first format was like Unova Dex only, which had like only 60, 70 like fully like evolved Pokemon. So the pool was very small, and it was very.
It
very
won
good.
that year. I think that was 2013.
No, that would have been.
I don't know. I know it won. I knew it won too.
It won in. I think it was like 11 and 13. It won.
Was it 11? It was 11. You are correct. 11
Yeah.
and 13 it won.
Yeah.
Man, Conk is great.
Whatever helps you sleep at night, buddy. You know who else won Worlds? Mamoswine.
Yeah, but like, who cares?
So those are all our questions. Thank you everyone from our community for submitting questions. We always appreciate the feedback and the questions from our community, and we hope that we all answered them. Mostly our lovely hosts, Carl and Carter, answered them to the best of their ability, and that I didn't sidebar too much. Dot, I apologize for not seeing your question. That was added at the last second. And
I mean, it was added before we started recording, so you know.
I went to school for numbers, not words. Be happy I can like read.
I can't even do that.
All right, Carter, get us out of here.
Alrighty. As always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Angelo, thank you for coming on, as always, my dude. It has been a pleasure, as always. You wanna plug your stuff before we get too far?
Yeah, tweet at me personally at VGC, and professionally at Littleroot Lessons or
At LR Lessons.
Littleroot Lessons.
How are you our social media manager and you don't know our social media handle?
I've had 3 coffees, and we're going to call that a coffee. At LR Lessons.
There you go.
You love me, guys. Or just, honestly, just find me on Discord. I'm on my phone too much. I'm either on Twitter or talking Discord. It's About to be NFL free agency.
Yeah,
Go
we're
Birds.
excited for that.
Talk Eagles for me.
All right. So, as Angela plugged, you can follow us at LR Lessons over on Twitter. Myself at Mr. Missouri 25. Carl's at Musical VGC. Carl and I are both also on Twitch. I watch more Twitch than I actually stream, so that's not a high bar to cross, but here I am.
Yep.
You can follow me at Mr. Missouri 25, and Carl is at Musical there. You, of course, can always come and join our community Discord, so you get to hang out with us and ask all these wonderful questions and, all that good stuff. We have our invitational coming up here very, very soon. We have two more Rumbles.
One more Rumble. It is this weekend, Regulation C.
There we go. Now we know. And then, so that's the 18th, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
No, 18th is next weekend.
No, Angela, when does this come out?
Oh my god.
Good job, Angelo. Proud of you.
I need to go to bed.
Okay, bye.
Carter, get us out of here.
I'm trying to! Let's see. You can hang out with us on Discord. That link is down in the show notes as well. You can always check out the website as well. That has the FAQ and all that good stuff for the invitational and everything you need to know. That is lrlessons.com. While you're over there, you can go and check out the merch page.
While it's still up.
Hopefully that will be changing very, very soon. Sooner rather than later. Because Teespring is, just a little Teespring slander here at the very end. Because why not? And, of course, that always does support us as well. But if you want to support us financially and don't want to support Teespring, because I get it, you can always head over to patreon.com for as little as, 25 cents an episode.
Nope.
You can keep our lights on.
It's more than that. Because it's I think it's 50 cents.
Yeah, you're right. It's 50 cents because the minimum is 2. That's right. For as little as 50 cents an episode, you can help keep our lights on, which, is always great. And of course, special shout outs to our Patreon subscribers at the $10 tier or higher. We have Johnny Bravo Sr. and Papa Swish. Thank you all so much for watching, and happy birthday, guys. This has been a fun one.
Happy birthday, guys.
So, for the crew, I am Carter Noble, and I am signing off. So, that is it. Have a good one. Peace.